Countdown sequence has started. T-minus 10 minutes and counting. This is KF5JHA.
W5FC.
The countdown sequence continues. T-minus 5 minutes to Skynet. This is KF5JHA. countdown sequence continues. T-minus 5 minutes to Skynet. This is KF5 JHA. The countdown sequence continues. T-minus 5 minutes to Skynet. This is KF5 JHA. The countdown sequence continues. T-minus 5 minutes to Skynet. This is KF5 JHA. The countdown sequence continues. T-minus 5 minutes to Skynet. This is KF5 JHA. The countdown sequence continues. T-minus 5 minutes to Skynet. This is KF5 JHA. The countdown sequence continues. T-minus 5 minutes to Skynet. This is KF5 JHA. Launch sequence continues. Skynet in T-minus 2 minutes and counting. This is KF5 JHA. Launch sequence continues. Skynet in T-minus 2 minutes and counting. This is KF5 JHA. Launch sequence continues. Skynet in T-minus 2 minutes and counting. This is KF5 JHA. Launch sequence continues. Skynet in T-minus 2 minutes and counting. This is KF5 JHA. Launch sequence continues. Skynet.
Mr. Chairman, I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
Mr. Chairman, I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
Mr. Chairman, I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
Mr. Chairman, I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
Good evening, everyone. Does anyone need to use the repeater before we begin the 9 p.m. this edition of Skynet? Good evening, everyone. Does anyone need to use the repeater before we begin the 9 p.m. this edition of Skynet? Good evening, everyone. Does anyone need to use the repeater before we begin? This is Kilo Foxtrot 5, Juliet Hotel Alpha. My name is Chaz. I'll be your net control for this session of the 5th Saturday DARC Skynet. Now, we're going to do something tonight that we can't do until the year 2048 again. That is having a Skynet on February 29th. The next time we can do that is until February 29th, the year 2048. We're going to do something tonight. Bit of trivia. Can't do until the year 2048 again. That is having a Skynet on February 29th. The next time we can do that is until February 29th, the year 2040. Skynet is a weekly net called every Saturday night at 9 p.m. concerning the subject of astronomy. Our purpose is to help amateurs become more familiar with the night sky, daytime sky, astronomy, space, and other things too. This net is open to all amateurs interested in this topic, and we encourage your participation, comments, and suggestions for this net. Stations with priority or emergency traffic may enter the net at any time using the pro sign break break and your call sign. Is there any emergency or priority traffic? Comments, and suggestions for this net. Stations with priority or emergency traffic may enter the net at any time using the pro sign break break and your call sign. Is there any emergency or priority traffic? I guess not. This is a directed net. Please do not transmit without direction from net control. That's me. And stations are reminded to ID at the end of your transmissions, like KF5 JHA. I guess not. This is a directed net. Please do not transmit without direction from net control. This weekly net operates on 146.88 megahertz with a private line tone of 110.9. Check-ins via Echolink are also possible using the W5FC-R station ID or Echolink node 37247. Tonight's topic, astronomy charts, pictures, live audio, video links are all available online. Go to w5fc.org right now for the complete list. And you might even, if you have the video portion on, see Star Trek in the background and some guy wearing some sort of shirt that has an airplane on it. Something about wings. Go to w5fc.org right now for the complete list. And you might even, if you have the video portion on, see Star Trek in the background and some guy wearing... All amateurs are welcome, and you need not be a member of any amateur radio club to participate. This net is 90 minutes long, give or take a few minutes, and is structured in several parts. We might not get to all these parts, but I'll read them out loud anyway. General announcement, Texas Astronomical Society event, National Space Society event, the discussion topic of the evening, space exploration and space history was topic or constellation of the week, but I'll read them out loud anyway. General announcement, space launches of the week, recent astronomical discoveries, and visible satellite passages over the next couple of days. And space history was topic or constellation of the week. If we have time at the end, astronomical questions and answers and a 73 round. All amateurs that are licensed to transmit on this frequency are again invited to check in. All right, I guess this is where we start checking in. First round of check-ins is low power and short time. Here's what I'd like to do, is to have us come in groups of 3, because I don't do this very often, And do it very slowly, phonetically, with your call sign so I can write this all down. Come now, if you are low power or short time for Skynet tonight. Have us come in groups of 3, because I don't do this very often. And do it very slowly, phonetically, with your call sign so I can write this all down. Come now, if you are low power or short time.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike, Tony, portable in Dallas.
I don't do this very often. And do it very slowly, phonetically, with your call sign so I can write this all down. Come now, if you are low power or short time.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike, Tony, portable in Dallas.
Good evening, Tony. NT5TM. Thank you for checking in. All right, I'll do this one more time. Any more low power or short time check-ins, come now with your call sign, your name, and your location. NT5TM. Thank you for checking in. All right, I'll do this one more time. Any more low power or short time check-ins, come now with your call sign, your name, and your location. NT5TM. Thank you for checking in. All right, I'll do this one more time. Okay. Thank you, Tony. Let's do the general check-ins. Once again, come now with your call sign, your name, and your location. Please do this slowly. We're going to do this in groups of 3, so I have some time for breathing in between them. So, first 3 people, Tony, please come now with your call sign. Check-ins. Once again, come now with your call sign, your name,
Bravo,
and your
Bravo.
location. Please do this slowly.
Bill,
We're going to do this in
Irving,
groups of 3. So I have
In
some time
2048, I'll be 94 years old if I'm still around, so I might not make the net.
Please come now with your call sign. Check-in. Once again, come now. Come now.
KG 5P, Mike, I'll be 101, but I'll still be here.
Thank you, Mike, David, and Bill. The net recognizes all 3 of you. I hope I'm here in 2048 and maybe the next February 29th for Skynet as well. Okay, the next 3 people, please come now with your call sign, your name, and your location. David and Bill. The net recognizes all 3 of you. I hope I'm here in 2048
Kilo, Foxtrot
and
5,
maybe the
Zulu,
next
Bravo, Lima,
February
Bill,
29th
Farmers
for
Ranch.
Skynet as well. Okay, the next 3 people, please come now with your call sign, your name, and your location. David and Bill. The net recognizes all 3
Kilo Echo 5, India Charlie X-ray, Tom Lusso.
Zulu, Bravo, Lima,
February
Bill,
29th
Farmers
for
Ranch.
Skynet as well.
Whiskey Bravo 5, Oscar Zulu Lima, Brenda and DeSoto.
David and Bill. The net recognizes all 3
Kilo Echo 5, India Charlie X-ray.
Thank you so much, Bill, Tom, and Carolyn. Hey, I think we're probably going to have some of those people talking later on this net. All right, the next 3, please come now with your call sign, your name, and your location.
Kilo Echo 5, India Charlie X-ray.
Thank you so much, Bill, Tom, and Carolyn. Hey, I think we're probably going to have some of those people talking later on this net. All right, the next 3.
Alpha
please come
Golf
now with your
5,
call
Papa
sign, your
Mike,
name,
Rich
and
in
your
Rockwall.
location.
Echo 5, India Charlie
Thank
X-ray.
you so much,
This
Bill,
is
Tom, and Carolyn. Hey, I think we're probably going to have some of those people talking later
Kilo,
on
Golf
this
5,
net.
Echo, India,
Alpha
Uniform,
Golf 5,
David,
Papa Mike, Rich
All
in
Texas.
Rockwall.
Thank you so much,
This
Bill,
is-
Tom, and Carolyn.
This is
I think we're probably going to have some of those people.
Kilo Golf 5,
Golf
Whiskey
5,
Victor Lima,
Echo,
James and
India,
Carrollton.
Uniform, David,
Papa Mike, Rich
All
in
Texas.
Rockwall.
Well, thank you so much, Rich, David, and James. Sounds like we have most of the usual suspects so far. So the next 3, please come now with your call sign, your name, and your location to check into Skynet. Well, thank you so much, Rich, David, and James. Sounds like we have most of the usual suspects so far. So the next 3, please come now with your call sign, your name, and your location to check into Skynet. Well, Well, thank you so much, Rich, David, and James. We sound like we have most of the usual suspects so far. So the next three, please come now with your call sign, your name, and your location to check into Skynet. Well, thank you so much, Rich, David, and James. We sound like we have most of the usual suspects so far. So the next three, please come now with your call sign, your name, and your location. Well, thank you, Joe. Hang on just a minute. I've lost my Echo Link connection. I'm going to try to reconnect and then see if we have some connections via Echo Link. Just give me a moment, please. KF5, JJ. Well, thank you, Joe. Hang on just a minute. I've lost my Echo Link connection. I'm going to try to reconnect and then see if we have some connections via Echo Link. Just give me a moment, please. KF5, JJ. Well, thank you, Joe. Hang on just a minute. I've lost my Echo Link connection. I'm going to try to reconnect and then see if we have some connections via Echo Link. Just give me a moment, please. Now the computer's loading this slowly. So, let's go ahead and take check-ins via Echo Link. Come now with your call sign, your location, and your name. Whatever order you want to do that in. Come now. I'll let you have lots of extra time if you're checking in by Echo Link. So if you're checking in by Echo Link, come now, please. Echo Link. Come now with your call sign, your location, and your name. Whatever order you want to do that in.
Kilo, Golf, 5, Bravo, Zulu, Whiskey, J, near Weatherford.
Come now, please. Echo Link. Come now with your call sign, your location, and your name. Whatever order you want to do that in.
Kilo, Golf, 5, Bravo, Zulu,
November 5,
J,
Yankee Echo Oscar, Stephen, San Antonio. Hello, Net Control.
Kilo, Golf, 5, Bravo,
Slow Foxtrot, Papa Delta Sierra, Billy, in Sherman.
Stephen, San Antonio. Hello, Net Control.
Okay, we're going to stop it right there for just a moment. Jay and Steven and Billy. It was nice to see you last night, Billy, at the Texas Astronomical Society meeting. Okay, we were getting somebody right at the end of Billy. You were sort of overlapping, so please come now with your name and your call sign and your location now if you were on Echo Link and we're just trying to get in. Okay, we were getting somebody right at the end of Billy. You were sort of overlapping, so please come now with your name and your call sign and your location now if you were on Echo Link and we're just trying to get in. Okay, we were getting somebody right at the end of Billy. You were sort of overlapping, so please come now with your name and your call sign. Hi, Joe. Thank you very much. Arlington. Yeah, I had you checked in earlier, so that's good. Thank you very much. Are there any other check-ins? I'm still trying to boot up into Echo Link. Are there any other Echo Link check-ins that would like to check in now? Come now with your call sign, your name, and your location. You checked in earlier, so that's good. Thank you very much. Are there any other check-ins? I'm still trying to boot up into Echo Link. Are there any other
5,
Echo Link
Juliet Delta
check-ins
Whiskey,
that would
John
like to
in
check
Norman,
now?
Oklahoma.
Come now with your call sign, your name, and your location. You checked in earlier, so that's good. Thank you very much. Are there any other check-ins? I'm still trying to
0, Mike Bravo Charlie, Shane in Blue Springs with
John in Norman, Oklahoma.
come now with your call sign, your name, and your location. Yes, Joe, I've got you. Do you want me to count you as 3 times since you checked in 3 times? Oh, okay. John and Shane and Stephanie, of course. I welcome you to the Skynet this evening. Let's see now. JJ is also on Echo Link. Let's see now. I think I've already got Jay already down. Tyler, welcome. We'll get you signed in, and let's see now. I think everything. Oh, Jamie, KC5MPO, is also on Echo Link. I don't think I have you down yet. So, are there any other check-ins? Any mode? Echolink? Radio? I don't have Facebook up, but maybe someone else can relay that to me if there's somebody else. Come now with your call sign, your location, and your name.
Kilo, Foxtrot 5, Tango, 0 Kilo, Berlin, Dallas.
This is Kilo, Foxtrot 5, Quebec, Delta, Quebec, Eric and Garland.
Well, thank you, Tom, for putting out that Mike Huff is on Facebook. So we're up to now 20 people that signed in for Skynet this evening. We'll have more check-ins in a little bit. So right now, let's continue on with Skynet. Let's see, what's next on the list? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Oh, do any of you have any general announcements for this evening's net? These can be ham, astronomical, space, or of general interest to licensed ham radio operators. If you have an announcement, please come now with your call sign.
November 5, Bravo, Bravo.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike.
Well, I think you won, Bill. So, N5, BB, come now with your announcement.
I'll take my prize offline. This is N5BB. I wonder what I won. News. The Irving Ham Fest is a week from today, Saturday, March the 7th. It will start at 8 a.m. and things will shut down around 2 p.m. Location is our normal location, the Bingo Hall in Irving. This is on Story Road, about half a mile south of Highway 183, at the intersection with Highway 356, which is Irving Boulevard. There will be volunteer exams there, and a lot of fun will be had by all. Dallas Amateur Radio Club members, some DARC members, will be helping some Irving Club members doing the chores required to keep the Ham Fest operating. I will be master of ceremonies. Whoopie-doo. That's all I got. N5BB.
Thank you, Bill. I bet you lots of people will have a lot of fun there. There was a joke in there if you've caught it, but if you've never been to the Irving Ham Fest, then you didn't catch the joke. JJ, I want to acknowledge you as checking in, so we're now up to 21 people. I'm sorry I didn't acknowledge you before. Tony, NT5TM, come now with your announcement.
Thank you very much, Chaz. I'm looking forward to that Ham Fest. I know it's going to be a great time, and it'll be fun to hear Bill as Master of Ceremonies again. We do have another net coming up tonight. This net is awesome, and nothing can top it. But if you want to try, we have the Afterglow movie discussion coming up right here tonight at about 10:30 or so. Yeah, about 5 minutes after this net wraps up. Of course, this is a busy weekend since tomorrow is the first Sunday. That means we have a meeting on the air tomorrow night at 7 p.m. on this repeater. That's an informal meeting of anyone, club member or not, who'd like to share what's been going on in their ham world. And then at 8 p.m. we have the Racy's training net. Only Racy's appointees in the Dallas area can check in, but everyone is welcome to listen to the training. This Monday we have Ham Fixin's net at 7 p.m. And then this Tuesday we have an in-person meeting. have to go. If you want, you can't just check in on the radio. You have to go to the Dallas Medical Center, northeast corner of Webb Chapel and LBJ, the third floor community room of the main hospital building. Parking is free and close. Don't let the word hospital scare you off, or even medical center. The board meeting is at 6. It's full of business. The general meeting is at 7. It's got just a little bit of business, but mainly it's got a presentation on WinLink radio email by John Galvin in 5TIM, which is a interesting and important topic, one that I'm working hard on and I need help with. So maybe you do too. Come on out to the club meeting this Tuesday, March 3rd. That's all I've got. More details, of course, are at w5fc.org. This is NT5TM.
Thank you so much, Tony. That's great. Let's see now. I've got some other announcements here. The Radio Amateur Satellite Group has 2 different nets available to the Dallas area folks on Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. Central Time, but you'll need an Echo link installed on your computer, and you have to be registered. You can find the net under Groups or AMSAT. Also, there's live audio links available at their website, AMASTNET, This originates from Houston, Texas. The other amateur radio satellite net is on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. on the Arlington repeater, 147.14 megahertz with a private line tone of 110.9. Positive offset. Oh, I forgot to mention, the Irving Hamfest is where I first got my first radio about 9 years ago. This is going to be an awesome thing to go back there again. Okay, let's see now. Oh, we have that thing that Tony mentioned, an Afterglow movie. That's after Skynet. That's about 10:30-ish. There is a person on here that usually gives us an introduction to that. Let me see. Who is he? Oh, he's doing the video streaming. That will be Tom, KE5ICX. Could you come in and let us know what's going on with this Afterglow movie this evening?
Well, thank you, Chaz. This is KE5ICX. Yes, the Afterglow movie net is at 10:30 p.m. You can join us. To be honest with you don't even have to have seen the movie. You know this plot. But let me go ahead and give you this highly accurate synopsis real quick. The producer was down on his luck. He spent most of the day foraging for food. While living on the streets of Hollywood was tough, it was particularly difficult for a once great producer to, well, produce movies and television, especially now. Apparently the need for a TV show with skeptical FBI agents unearthing conspiratorial aliens dressed like Kojak the Night Stalker just wasn't resonating with the American viewing public. The producer looked into the garbage can. He grabbed what looked like a soiled script. Written by Melinda Snodgrass. He recognized the name. Someone from Star Trek: The Next Generation. He read the first few lines. No space aliens, just a bunch of cadets working their first mission on the USS Surprise. USS Surprise. The substituted words hastily scrawled out and Enterprise removed completely. Below it, the words, what the hell was I thinking? Obviously in Snodgrass writing. The producer located a payphone and called Snodgrass. This was his last chance. Join us for the Afterglow movie Star Command from 1996 on Leap Day. That's today. You'll leap right into it at 10:30 p.m. Back to net control and all the ships at sea. This is KE5ICX.
I really want to ask a question what a payphone is, because I don't know if I've ever seen one, because I'm so young. I'm only 16. I can prove that. Billy knows math. I can prove this mathematically. Okay. Do we have any additional check-ins? Please come down with your call sign, your name, and your location. Please do it slowly so I can write this down on my log sheet. What do we we do with these log sheets anyway? I don't know. Come now with your call sign, name, and location if you want to check into Skynet this evening.
Kilo India 5, Gulf Romeo Hotel, Melissa in Dallas. Kilo India 5, Gulf Romeo Golf, Esther in Dallas.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Quebec, Delta, Quebec, Eric and Garland.
Eric, I'm sorry. I thought I'd checked you in earlier. I do have you written down on my sheet of paper, but I must not have acknowledged you earlier. Okay. And Melissa and Esther, thank you very much for checking into Skynet. We're up to 24 people. I wonder if we get to 42. I hope so. All right. Just to let you know, the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas has meetings in the fourth Friday of each month. That was last night. And we had a wonderful featured speaker that was Robert Reeves. He told us about the formation of the moon, the geology of the moon, and showed us tons of pictures that he has taken of the moon. And he's going to even take better pictures because he's recently upgraded his telescope. So if you missed that, he actually has done this talk in other locations across the world and is planning on doing it at a Messier marathon that I'll talk about later on in just a little bit. So, on the fourth Friday of each month, the Texas Astronomical Society meetings are held at the University of Texas at Dallas on Campbell Road. Please make sure you follow the proper parking. You can figure out that parking lot locations that you can park in without being ticketed at texasastro.org. Also, on almost every Saturday night, the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas has observing stations somewhere in the Metroplex. So we have them in several locations. That would be Cedar Hill, Garland, I don't have that in front of me right now, Rockwall, although Rockwall is on hiatus right now because we need to get another person that will do that. And, of course, Frisco. How can I forget Frisco? Frisco is usually the largest of the crowd. We get usually way over 100, if not 2, at that location on a regular basis. So, again, if you want more detailed information about that, you can go to texasastro.org. Do any of you out there need any fills or would like more information about the Texas Astronomical Society? Please come now with your call sign.
Kilo Golf 5, Whiskey Romeo November.
Whiskey Romeo November, please come now with your question.
Yes, I was wondering if the speaker that talked last night made any mention of NASA acknowledging a new micromoon. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, a new satellite? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, I'm not sure of the exact terminology he might have used, but I've heard it being referenced as a smaller moon. Back to net control, KG5, WRN.
Thank you. Actually, Robert Reeves did mention the fact that there's this, I think it's 11 feet in diameter thing that's going around. We actually have things like that orbit around the Earth. They come in and then leave, and they never come back again. So, yeah, some people might consider we have 5 moons, but there's really only one official satellite or moon of the Earth that's fully recognized. So, I don't know. What do you want to call a moon? We kicked out Pluto out of the Planet Club because it didn't meet all the criteria that we set forth. But right now, anything orbiting the Earth we could call a moon because there's not really a firm definition of it. Did that answer your question?
Well enough, net control. Thank you for acknowledging me. This is Kilo Golf 5, Whiskey Romeo November, West Fort Worth. Back to net control.
Thank you so much. Okay, let me see. I got to get back to my script. I was wandering off page. Let's see now. Let's see. Oh, I'm not supposed to sing. I'm not supposed to have music online, am I? There is the National Space Society events and activities. Bill, N5BB. Come now with some information about the National Space Society.
Thanks, Chaz. This is N5BB with the National Space Society of North Texas chapter. Our chapter meets on the second Sunday of every month except for December. And our meeting location is the Spring Creek Barbecue in Irving, which is on the southwest corner of Highway 183 and Beltline, directly across the highway from Irving Mall. Our meetings start at 3:30 on Sunday afternoon. So the next meeting will be in a little over a week on Sunday, March the 8th. This is the day after the Irving Ham Fest. Sunday, March the 8th, 3:30 p.m. in Irving. I do not know the topic of the meeting. This is under active discussion because we may have overbooked our speakers, and we're trying to resolve that now. There's no other real big upcoming event coming up in the next few weeks. As I mentioned last week on Skynet, we had some activity at the Dallas Regional Science and Engineering Fair. This is the science fair every year at Fair Park, and I was one of the judges, and that was real fun. But the next really big event for National Space Society is going to be the International Space Development Conference. This is called ISDC. It moves around to different cities. This year it is in Frisco, right north of Dallas. It will start on, the main activity will start on Thursday, May the 28th, and end on Sunday, May the 31st. So Thursday, May the 28th through Sunday, May the 31st of 2020. Unfortunately, the sign-up page, which is isdc2020.nss.org, you can go to the sign-up page and see about the conference. But the register link is not yet working. It was supposed to be working back in January. However, the National Space Society is redoing their whole IT infrastructure, and the sign-up page isn't working yet. So you can try to register, and you'll get it's an unavailable page. Hopefully that will be fixed shortly, and you'll be able to sign up for ISDC. The venue in Frisco is the Embassy Suites by Hilton in Frisco. It's the Hotel and Convention Center. There will be all kinds of interesting people there, including Phil Plait, the Bad Astronomy blog guy, various astronauts, various luminaries involving development of space. That's all I got in 5BB.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you so much. Phil, he's all about bad astronomy and debunking bad astronomy, so that's kind of cool. All right, so it's time now for the feature topic of the evening. Actually, I was debating between two different ones, so I like what Billy suggested. Do both. Okay, so I'm going to do both. Topic one, daylight saving time. So what are we doing in a couple weeks that we do only once a year? Well, we change from standard time to daylight saving time. Yes, it is written and pronounced daylight saving time, not daylight savings time. Why do we do this crazy thing? We are actually on daylight saving time longer than standard time. So daylight time is really our standard time. Couldn't we just stay on one or the other and not change? I'm confused. Are you? When did this all start? I really don't want to leak my source, but according to Wiki, George Hudson proposed this modern-day daylight time idea back in 1895. A German empire actually implemented it on April 30th, 1916. Most of the world does not observe daylight time because a large portion of the world population live near and around the equator and the tropics, where variation of the amount of light over the course of the year doesn't happen very much. It's a very small amount. When I lived in Seattle, which is located at 47 degrees north latitude, I remember in late December going to work when it was dark. I'm talking about it didn't get daylight until about 9 a.m. And by 3 p.m. it was already getting dark again, so I went home in the dark. Some of you think I'm in the dark all of the time right now anyway. In contrast, at the end of June in Seattle, evening twilight didn't end till around 11 p.m. and morning twilight began around 1 a.m. That's not much time for nighttime astronomy during the summer. And in Seattle, the summer months is about the only time of year that is clear. So why daylight time? Well, the idea goes something like this. Individuals in industrialized locations who follow a year-round schedule of commuting to work daily and awake an hour earlier than they would have otherwise, they can begin and complete work routines an hour earlier. And they would have available to them an extra hour of daylight after their workday activities. However, they will have one less hour of daylight at the start of each day, making this policy less practical during the winter. But war does add a mix to this. During World War I, daylight time was used to try to conserve coal, and after World War I, daylight time was generally abandoned by most. World War II, daylight time came back and then went away again. Now, let's throw in an energy crisis in the 1970s, and so daylight time came back and has a foothold on all of us to this day. When to shift to daylight time has slightly changed over the years, too. Right now, in North America, we make the change from standard time to daylight time on the second Sunday of March at 1 a.m. We skip the hour between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. on that day. To remember, we can remember the phrase spring forward an hour, since we're in the spring of the year, so we set our clocks forward an hour. In the year 2020, the change to daylight time happens just a week from now, really, on Sunday, March the 8th. So after Skynet is over and after Glow Movie next week, you can set your non-computer controlled clocks ahead by 1 hour before you go to bed. Now on the first Sunday of November at 2 a.m., we go back to standard time by setting our clocks back an hour. We remember this phrase by saying we fall back an hour because it's the fall of the year. And again, this year, it will be on November the 1st. There are actually some locations in the United States that don't move their clocks around. Arizona, Hawaii, and Alaska don't participate in daylight time. And maybe soon, Texas might not participate either. Last year, the state legislature of Texas had its 86th session, and House Bill 3784 actually proposed that Texas stay on daylight time year-round. That's different than the other states have done. Permanently, year-round, daylight time. Unfortunately, the bill never made it out of committee. But if you like the idea of keeping daylight time our year-round time, then contact your state representative and state senator to reconsider this idea on the next legislative session next year. Okay, topic number 2. In the 1700s, astronomers were interested in observing and discovering comets. And one French astronomer, Charles Messier, was the one of those comet hunters, but he had a problem. He kept mistaking these fuzzy things that were scattered throughout the sky for comets. These fuzzy things did not move compared to the stars, and no one really knew what they were, so they were mostly ignored. But for Charles Messier, these fuzzy things were bothersome. So Messier decided to write down the location in the sky of these permanent fuzzy things so he would not mistake them for a comet. He first started with a few on his list, and then more were added. His friend and assistant, Pierre Messier, helped Messier compile the list of these objects. The first list of 45 of these objects was published in 1774 in the French Academy of Sciences in Paris. Only 17 of these 45 were credited to Messier as discoveries, with the others have being observed by other astronomers. By 1780, the list had increased to 80 objects. In the 1784 edition of, I am going to mess this up, Connaissance des Temps, it's the official yearly publication of the Astronomical Ephemeris of France, a total of 103 objects were listed. But through historical research, 7 more objects have been added to this list. So now we recognize a list of 110 Messier objects in the sky. Back in the 1700s, it was a list of things not to look at because they weren't comets, and astronomers back then did not understand them. Now it is a list of things that we do look at. Many amateur astronomers observe and image these nightly. This list contains open star clusters, globular star clusters, many types of galaxies, reflection nebula, emission nebula, planetary nebula, supernova remnant, the birthplace of stars, and much more. This list of 110 Messier objects are not scattered evenly throughout the sky. In fact, there is a time of year when, if you're at the right location on the Earth, and the moon is around new phase, you can observe all 110 objects in just a single night of observing, between sunset to sunrise. That time of year is right around the vernal equinox. The location of the Earth that works really well is the southern part of the northern hemisphere. So South Texas works really well. Trying to observe as many of these M objects in one night is called a Messier marathon. Back in the late 1970s and early 1980s, don't try to figure out my age, I participated in several Messier marathons. One such Messier marathon, we used the 32-inch telescope at Perkins Observatory in Powell, Ohio, just north of Columbus. A few more than a dozen of us got to observe 108 of the 110 objects that night. That is my record. I've never observed all 110 in one night. For this year, the new moon falls just 5 days after the equinox, so this year is not an ideal year, but it's really pretty good. There's a private observing location in West Texas called Comanche Springs that is hosting a Messier marathon between March 19th through March 22nd. Comanche Springs has undergone an expansion over the last few years and now can accommodate many more people. I attended a Messier marathon at Comanche Springs 5 years ago, but it ended up with nothing but rain the entire weekend until around noon on Sunday when everyone was leaving. Now, several of us hams that are on this radio this evening attended that Messier marathon, as well as a NASA astronaut. Kelly, K5KTX, interviewed Tom Pennant right over Skynet during that weekend. And there's a picture of it right there on the video link. Tom Pennant is a ham as well. And he thought it would be fun to do. And it was. The Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas is also planning a Messier marathon at their dark side and observing location near Atoka, Oklahoma on the night of March 28th, 29th. But we don't know whether the weather will cooperate with either weekend. Let me see. Information about that will be located on texasastro.org very soon. If it is clear on March 21st and March 28th, Skynet nights, I might not be participating in Skynet because I'll be at the Messier Marathon. Might try to check in on Skynet through Echolink, but I can't make that promise because I might be looking through a telescope. All right, do any of you out there in Radio Land have any questions or comments about either one of my topics for this evening? Come now with your call sign and your name if you've got a question.
KG5P.
Okay, Mike, I guess you're up. Go for it.
Oh, yes, thank you, Chaz. My question is, how many balls of string would it take to reach the moon? How many balls of string would it take to reach the moon?
Now, that question was actually in the first joke book I got called the Red Rock Eater Joke Book. And you can blame my parents for that. I got that at about the age of 7 or 8. Should I give the answer, or do you want to do that? I'll let you do it, Mike. Go ahead. Let them all know.
Well, I didn't have a joke book, but it would only take one ball, a very, very large ball, but it only takes one. Back to Chaz, KG5P.
Thank you, Mike. I hope you're not stringing us along with any other things in the future. Oh, wait, I think you have a segment, too. This is KF5JHA, and this is Skynet. Our next segment is going to be Brenda with space exploration and space history. Come now, WB5OZL, with your information. The net's yours.
Thank you. Hold on, please. Okay, this first link is not right. Let me go and find it. Stand by, please. On February 24th, 1968, was the discovery of the first pulsar announced. A pulsar, from pulse and AR as in quasar, is a highly magnetized, rotating neutron star that emits beams of electromagnetic radiation out of its magnetic poles. This radiation can be observed only when a beam of emission is pointing toward Earth, much like the way a lighthouse can be seen only when the light is pointed in the direction of an observer. And is responsible for the pulsed appearance of emission. Neutron stars are very dense and have short, regular rotational periods. This reduces a very precise interval between pulses that range from milliseconds to seconds for an individual pulsar. Pulsars are one of the candidates for the source of ultra-high energy cosmic rays. And also relates to centrifugal mechanism of acceleration. Periods of pulsars make them very useful tools for astronomers. Observations of a pulsar in a binary neutron star system were used to indirectly confirm the existence of gravitational rotation. The first extrasolar planets were discovered around a pulsar. PSR B1257 plus 12. Certain types of pulsars exceed atomic clocks in their accuracy in keeping time. Also on February 24th, 2007, Rosetta flies by Mars. The Rosetta mission achieved many historic firsts. On its way to Comet 67P, Rosetta passed through the main asteroid belt and made the first European close encounter with several of these primitive objects. Rosetta was the first spacecraft to fly close to Jupiter's orbit using solar cells as its main power source. Rosetta was the first spacecraft to orbit a comet nucleus and was the first spacecraft to fly alongside a comet as it headed towards the inner solar system. It became the first spacecraft to examine at close proximity the activity of a frozen comet as it is warmed by the sun. Shortly after its arrival at 67P, the Rosetta orbiter dispatched the Philae lander for the first controlled touchdown on a comet nucleus. The robotic lander's instruments obtained the first images from a comet's surface and made the first in situ analysis of its composition. February 28th, 1966, Gemini 9 crew members, Elliot C. and Charles Bassett, died in a plane crash. They were flying from Texas to inspect the Gemini 9 spacecraft at the McDonnell Aircraft Plant in St. Louis, Missouri. The conditions at Lambert Field were poor, and as a consequence, in attempting a visual approach and landing, C hit one of the assembly buildings of the factory and caused the aircraft to crash, killing himself and Bassett instantly. As a consequence, the backup crew was promoted to prime crew, the first time this has occurred since the flight of Mercury Atlas 7 in 1962. By the way, Elliot C. was a local guy. He attended Highland Park High School, and their planetarium is named in his honor. February 26, 1966, the first Saturn 1B was launched. Saturn 1B, also known as the uprated Saturn 1, was an American launch vehicle commissioned by the National Aeronautics and Space Administration for the Apollo program. It replaced the S-4 second stage of the Saturn 1 with a much more powerful S-4B, able to launch a partially fueled Apollo Command and Service Module, CSM, or a fully fueled Apollo Lunar Module, LM, into low Earth orbit for early test flights, early flight tests before the larger Saturn V needed for the lunar flight was ready. By sharing the S-4B upper stage, the Saturn 1B and Saturn V provided a common interface to the Apollo spacecraft. The only major difference was that the S-4B on the Saturn V burned only part of its propellant to achieve Earth orbit, so it could be restarted for translunar injection. The S-4B on the Saturn 1B needed all of its propellant to achieve Earth orbit. The Saturn 1B launched 2 uncrewed CSM suborbital flights, 1 uncrewed LM orbital flight, and the first CSM orbital mission, first planned as Apollo 1, later flown as Apollo 7. It also launched 1 orbital mission, AS-203, without a payload, so the S-4B would have residual liquid hydrogen fuel. This mission supported the design of the restartable version of the S-4B used in the Saturn V by observing the behavior of the liquid hydrogen in weightlessness. In 1973, the year after the Apollo lunar program ended, 3 Apollo CSM/Saturn 1Bs ferried crews to the Skylab space station. In 1975, 1 last Apollo Saturn 1B launched the Apollo portion of the joint U.S.-USSR Apollo-Soyuz test program. A backup Apollo CSM Saturn 1B was assembled and made ready for a Skylab rescue mission, but never flown. The remaining Saturn 1Bs, in NASA's inventory were scrapped after the ASTP mission, as no use could be found for them, and all heavy lift needs of the U.S. space program could be serviced by the cheaper and more versatile Titan III family. All right, that's all I got. Back to net. WB50ZL.
Thank you, Brenda. Okay, I guess we're going to see if we have some more check-ins. Are there any other people out there that like to check into Skynet? Come now with your name, your call sign, and your location.
KYM, Chris and Crystal.
Kilo Golf 5, Zulu India X-Ray, Joe and Wiley.
Kilo Echo 5, Juliet India Tango, Randy and Lake Dallas.
Thank you so much, Randy and Joe. The first person that just checked in, I had my volume turned down too low. I didn't get your check-in, your name, or your call sign. Please come now again. I've got my volume turned up higher on my radio.
This is Kilo Charlie 5, Kilo Yankee Mike, KG5 KYM, Chris and Crystal.
Chris in Frisco, thank you so much. Okay. I guess it's back to me. We're going to go through the segment of What's Up. I don't have a very long segment for that tonight, so here we go. Did I thank myself for turning the net back over to myself? I don't think I'll do that. Remember that Skynet's not only available on the Dallas repeater, I've done this earlier, 146.88 megahertz with a private line tone of 110.9, but also available to him across the world via Echolink, and I'm trying to monitor Echolink, but I'm not on there very much this evening. And most weeks, Skynet is also a video component. You can find those video links on w5fc.org. I'm looking at one of them right now, one of the video links on YouTube. So, with radio, Echolink, and video, I say the net's in 3D. But, of course, our friend Tony, NT5TM, says we're in 4D because we use the dimension of time. By the way, what's going on in the chat window in Echolink and what's being done on the video might not have anything to do with what's being talked about on the air. So, to get the full 3D, or rather 4D version of Skynet, you must be monitoring all three areas at the same time. So tonight, the sun set around 6:23 p.m. Central Standard Time. It varies by a minute or two depending on where you are at in the Metroplex. Venus is the brightest thing in the sky other than the sun and the moon, and it's very easy to spot about halfway up in the western evening sky. The moon is much higher than Venus this evening, and it's in the west-southwestern sky. The moon was new on February 23rd, so the moon is a waxing crescent tonight. The moon will be at first quarter on March the 2nd, and it will be full on March the 9th. Well, that reminds me. How does one astronaut on the moon tell another astronaut that he is sorry? So how does one astronaut on the moon tell another astronaut on the moon that he's sorry? He apologizes. I think I hear some groans out there. All right, did you try it? Try what? Try finding Venus in the afternoon sky before sunset. On Thursday, February 27th, Venus was just a few degrees to the right of the moon in the afternoon and the evening sky. Thank you, John, for sending me a picture of Venus and the moon close together. I think it was on that date, or was it the day before that you took the picture. It was a great time to try to spot Venus on February 27th in the daytime sky before sunset. When I was in training classes on Thursday, I missed that opportunity, but on Friday afternoon, the moon was still close enough to Venus to work as a guide. On Friday afternoon, there were some high, thin cirrus clouds, and I was skeptical about finding Venus, but when I walked outside, the crescent moon provided me a guide to actually find Venus in a matter of seconds. And Venus was still shining through the clouds. It was much easier than I thought it would be with those clouds. I tried several times this afternoon to observe Venus, and at 3:47 p.m. I found it. Just with my two eyes. I did not use binoculars, but I did use the moon as my guide. Venus was about 25 degrees west of the crescent moon, and Venus was in a patch of blue sky next to some clouds. I also went out at 5:55 and saw it again. That was before sunset, so I challenge you to do the same thing. How do you do it? Using the moon as your guide. It makes finding Venus in the daytime sky so much easier. So the next time the waxing crescent moon is close to Venus will be at the end of March, on March 28th. It will be a great afternoon to try to find Venus in the afternoon sky. If you have binoculars, you can use them to find the moon first. Then just be careful not to look at the sun through your binoculars. After finding the moon in binoculars, you could probably see it with your two eyes, even without binoculars. But try to find the moon with just your two eyes. Now go back to the binoculars, scan from the moon, just slightly to the right, and you can find Venus. Once again, be careful not to look at the sun through your binoculars. Once you find Venus through your binoculars, now try to see if you can see it with just your two eyes. Might take some practice. After sunset on March 28th, the moon and Venus and the star cluster, the Pleiades, will make a nice triangle to observe, to try to get a few pictures. And this is KF5JHA, and this is Skynet. On March 8th, the planet Venus and the planet Uranus will be in conjunction, only 2.2 degrees apart from each other. Uranus will require a telescope to see, and using a telescope, you may be able to see both planets in the same field of view at the same time that evening. You should be able to see Uranus even with just a pair of binoculars. So get those binoculars and telescopes out and see if you can find that next planet out from the solar system, you know, the one just past Saturn. If you get up around 5:45 a.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow morning, you'll probably see clouds. But anytime over the next week or so, you can find three visible planets. Mars is in the constellation of Sagittarius. Below and to the left, you can find the bright planet Jupiter. And below and to the left of Jupiter, you can find Saturn. Both Saturn and Jupiter and Mars are also all located in the constellation of Sagittarius. We've talked about it several times on Skynet, and I think it was a featured event that Tom talked about last week, was Betelgeuse. Okay, I usually say Betelgeuse because I don't want to say that word Betelgeuse 3 times in a row because it could mean trouble, even more trouble than I am. It is not dimming anymore, but it's starting to bright. The American Association of Variable Star Observers, AAVSO, they've been making continuous observations of Betelgeuse for quite some time. It has kept its variable pattern of about 430 days, and it's still keeping it, and it has begun to brighten, which is right on prediction. We still don't understand why it dimmed more than it ever has. One explanation is there's a cloud of its own dust that's in the way, or something else between here and there has a dusty appearance between here and there. Now, Wednesday night, when I was observing with the Brookhaven astronomy students, I could tell that it had brightened just a little bit just by looking at it without optical aid. We are still predicting that sometime in the next 100,000 years that it will go supernova, so keep watching Betelgeuse all the time. Oh no, was that the third time? If you don't know where to look for that star, it's located in the constellation of Orion. Facing south night in the evening sky, Orion can be found by looking for 3 stars of equal brightness in a straight line and evenly spaced. That is the belt of Orion. Two bright stars below the belt of Orion are his knees. The one on the left is Scius, the one on the right is Rigel. There are two bright stars above the belt stars that represents Orion's shoulders. One on the left is that star. Okay, I'll say it again. Betelgeuse. The other one is on the right is Bellatrix. One more reminder that the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas has telescopes set up somewhere in the Metroplex almost every Saturday night. And you can find out meeting details as well at texasastro.org. And just want to let you know that Robert Reeves was that speaker last night, was awesome. And I don't know who the featured speaker is for next month, but we probably will know that by next Skynet next week. Do any of you out there in Radio Lab have any questions or need a fill on any of the information? Or do you just have a general question on astronomy? I don't know everything, but I may know the answer to your question. Come now with your call sign if you have a question. Oh no, I think I may have put you all asleep. So as the moon wanes at the end of March, so do these words. Until next time, keep looking up so you know what's up. And once again, this is Chaz, KF5JHA, and this is Skynet. The next thing on the agenda is Mike, KG5P. Miss Carolyn's constellation of the month and or a topic of the week. Mike, it's all yours.
Alrighty, Chaz, thank you. It's KG5P. You already used up my joke for the day, so we'll have to come up with one next week. Alright. Continuing on with your discussion of Venus. Now, here in Dallas, unfortunately, we're not blessed with really dark skies. But that doesn't mean there's anything. There's nothing to see. And one of the things you can see, not tonight because it's cloudy, but you can easily see Venus. Now, Chaz seemed to indicate that it's difficult to see. It's not. Believe me, you look for the moon. The only other thing up there is Venus. Okay, now Tom is running his live stream, and it's not up right now because there's a little bit of internet delay. But I was going to talk about Venus and the phases of Venus. Okay, now Venus now is what they call an evening star, because it becomes prominent. It's prominent in the early evening sky. Sometimes of the year it's a morning star, but not now. Okay, Venus travels around the sun inside the Earth orbit. I'll give you a little bit of celestial mechanics. Now, there's going to be a test on this. Chaz will deliver the test, and so take careful notes. Okay, so it alternates between becoming an evening star and a morning star and back, spending about 9.5 months as an evening star and about the same length of time as a morning star. Now, some ancient astronomers actually thought they were seeing two different celestial bodies. They named the morning star after Phosphorus, some Greek god, I guess, and the other evening star, Hesperus, the son of Atlas. The Greek astronomer or philosopher and mathematician Pythagoras first realized that Phosphorus and Hesperus were one and the same. Now, to the ancients, such behavior was puzzling and not really understood until the time of Galileo. And around 1610, which is even before I was born, he moved to Pisa, and I've been to Pisa. Very interesting. And he started observing Venus through his telescope. And of course, some of the other things that Galileo observed were sunspots and the moons of Jupiter and the phases of Venus were very important discoveries, totally unheard of before his time. So one evening he noticed a small slice that seemed to be missing from Venus's disk. Okay, after several more months, Venus appeared in the shape of a crescent. In other words, it seemed to display the same phases of the moon. This was a major discovery and ultimately helped to deliver a death blow to the long-held concept of the Earth-centered universe. And as I always say, give a monkey a brain and he'll think he's in the center of the universe. Which actually he is, but that's another topic. Okay. Now Venus wanders only a limited distance east or west of the sun. Since, like Mercury, it's an inferior planet. It's really a rotten, very bad planet. Very inferior. Not at all like Pluto and Jupiter and Mars, those planets. No, I'm just kidding. It's inferior because its orbits, the orbit of Venus and Mercury are between the Earth and the Sun. That's why they're called inferior planets. Boy, Tom is really, really low or slow on his feet here. So you just have to follow along with me. So anyway, what we have is, suppose you have a circle with the sun in the center and Venus orbits around on the left-hand side of this circular orbit, you're going to have the greatest elongation. And then when it's directly 90 degrees from the sun in reference to the Earth, it's going to be what they call inferior conjunction, and then it continues around, it's going to be the greatest elongation as a morning star. But right now it's the greatest elongation east, which makes it an evening star. And when it's in superior conjunction, when it's opposite the sun, it'll appear to be a round disk, and then as it approaches elongation, it starts to move in its phases, where it becomes an inferior conjunction between the Earth and the sun, and we can't see it at all. It's basically like a new moon. And then it continues on to the greatest elongation west, which makes it a morning star, and so on. So, when Venus is on the opposite side of the sun, it appears to be full, or nearly so, and rather small because it is far away from us. But because Venus moves with a greater velocity around the sun than the Earth, it gradually gets closer and looms progressively larger until the angle of the sunlight strikes it from the Earth's vantage point, and it appears to change as well. So ultimately, Venus prepares to pass between the Earth and the sun, and it appears to be as a thinning crescent. At this point, its orbit is nearly 6 times closer to it compared to what it is on the opposite side of the sun, or conjunction, or superior conjunction. So, what happens is that you get, eventually we're going to get these different phases of the moon, or of Venus, and right now it is waning gibbous. Okay, and I took a picture of it last night. Which I took with my 6-inch refractor, and it's on the website. On the Facebook page for Skynet, and it shows it to be about 60% full. And as the months go by, April into May, it'll take on a crescent type of appearance. and I'll take some more pictures when that happens. Okay, now on January 26th, it was 75 illuminated. On March 23rd...
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
From today, it'll become equidistant from the Earth. And Venus will now be at a right angle from the Earth, and it's be equally distant for about 107 million kilometers. Now, on March 24th, Venus will reach its greatest elongation, and this is the greatest angular distance that it'll make from the sun, which would be about 46 degrees. And what will happen is it'll be twice as large as it was at the end of last month, and it'll be a very silvery white half moon. And you might want to go out and observe it, because half the planet will appear half lit. It's called the dichotomy of Venus, and this occurs when Venus usually appears slightly gibbous, roughly a week after the greatest elongation. On October 27th, April 27th, I should say, about a month and a half from now, it'll have its greatest illumination. It'll be at magnitude minus 4.7. It'll be so bright that it can easily be seen with the naked eye. Of course, you can easily see it right now. The crescent can be glimpsed even with binoculars, and you can even see the crescent. So it'll display, when it displays a full or nearly full disk, it appears relatively small, but now it'll appear very large, a very narrow crescent, and it's called the greatest illuminated extent, which will be 42 million miles from the Earth. And then as it goes on to May and middle of May and late May, it'll go from 12% to 6% illuminated. And on June 3rd of this year, it'll be inferior conjunction, which it'll transition from an evening to a morning star, and it'll be so close to the sun that we won't be able to see it. So with that, I will kick it back to Ned. I hope you find this interesting. It's one of the few things we can see. We can't see tonight, but maybe tomorrow. Go out and take a look at it. And as Miss Carolyn would say, you'll enjoy it. KG5P, back to Ned. You'll enjoy it. KG5P, back to Ned.
Thank you, Mike. Actually, yeah, Venus is very visible in the evening sky after dark, but during the day is the challenge, if you can see it during the day while the sun is still up. Okay, next on the list, I think Tom is going to launch into something about something. Tom, KE5 ICX, the net is yours. Tom, KE5 ICX, the net is yours.
Well, thank you, Chaz. I don't know what happened to the stream. It kind of just went away, and I'm not sure why. It's sort of working, but it's not working. Oh, well, at any rate, let's see here. Launches, here we go. We have, this comes from either two sites. I generally go for Spaceflight Now launch schedule, which is spaceflightnow.com, the super nerdy site. It's better than space.com because it's nerdier. March 5th, we had a GSLV Mark II GSAT-1 launch. This is from India. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the Satish Dhawan Space Center location. India's geosynchronous satellite launch vehicle is designated as GSLV F-10. Will launch India's first geo-imaging satellite, or GSAT-1, and will provide continuous remote sensing observations over the Indian subcontinent from geostationary orbit, which is 22,000 miles, in case you were wondering, above Earth. Stationary orbit, which is 22,000 miles, in case you were wondering, above Earth. On March 6th, we have a Soyuz Falcon I-2 launch. That's the name of the payload. An Arianespace Soyuz rocket, designated VS-24, will launch on a mission from the Guyana Space Center in South America. The Soyuz will carry the Falcon I-2 high-resolution Earth imaging satellite for the United Arab Emirates, built by Airbus Defence and Space, with an optical imaging payload from Thales Alenia space, Falcon I-2 is the second of two surveillance satellites ordered from the UAE's military. The Soyuz 2-1A, or sometimes mentioned as Soyuz STA, rocket will use a Sagat upper stage, that's a standard stage they use, this was delayed from October 15th and switched in. The launcher, this was after the VIA launch failure with the Falcon I spacecraft on January 10th. On March 6th through 7th, somewhere in between, Falcon 9 SpaceX will launch a CRS-20 from Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. This will be the 22nd Dragon spacecraft mission on the 20th operational cargo delivery flight to the International Space Station. The flight is being conducted under the Commercial Resupply Services contract with NASA. And then finally, on March 11th, Falcon 9 Starlink 5, this one launching from Launch Complex 39A, the old Apollo launch site at Kennedy Space Center, right across from the other one, the Launch Complex 40. We have Falcon 9 Starlink 5. The Falcon 9 rocket is expected to launch the sixth batch of approximately 60 satellites for SpaceX's Starlink broadband network, a mission designated Starlink 5. This one was delayed earlier. They've been launching these things pretty regularly, but there was a delay of about a month, which pushed all these other missions back. So that's it from me. Back to you, Chaz, from KE5ICX.
Thank you so much, Tom. Yeah, I hope there's delays for a lot of those little small CubeSats, because they're making an increasing problem for amateur and professional astronomers with streaks through all their images, and it can damage some of the sensing of different things in the sky by the professionals. Anyway, recent astronomical discoveries is next. Brenda, WB50ZL, it's your net. WB50ZL, it's your net.
Thank you, Chaz. This is WB50ZL. This article is entitled Astronomers Detect Biggest Explosion in the History of the Universe. Wow, that's a powerful statement. Extremely powerful eruption occurred in the Ophiuchus galaxy cluster, which is located about 390 billion light years from Earth. Galaxy clusters are the largest structures in the universe held together by gravity. Containing thousands of individual galaxies, dark matter, and hot gas. Scientists studying a distant galaxy cluster have discovered the biggest explosion seen in the universe since the Big Bang. The blast came from a supermassive black hole at the center of a galaxy hundreds of millions of light years. It released 5 times more energy than the previous record holder. Professor Melanie Johnson-Howlett from the Curtin University node of the International Center for Radio Astronomy Research said the event was extraordinarily energetic. We've seen outbursts in the centers of galaxies before, but this one is really, really massive, and we don't know why it's so big. It happened very slowly, like an explosion in slow motion that took place over hundreds of millions of years. The explosion occurred in the Ophiuchus galaxy cluster about 390 million light years from Earth. It was so powerful it punched a cavity in the cluster plasma, the superhot gas surrounding the black hole. Lead author of the study, Dr. Simona Giantucci from the Naval Research Laboratory in the United States said the blast was similar to the 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens, which ripped the top off the mountain. The difference is that you could fit 50 Milky Way galaxies in a row into the crater this eruption punched into the cluster's hot gas, she said. Professor Johnston Howlett said the cavity in the plasma had been seen previously with X-ray telescopes. The scientists initially dismissed the idea that it could have been caused by an energetic outburst because it would have been too big. People were skeptical because of the size of the outburst, she said, but it really is that. The universe is a weird place. The researchers only realized what they had discovered when they looked at the Ophiuchian galaxy cluster with radio telescopes. The radio data fit inside the X-rays like a hand in a glove, said co-author Dr. Maxim Markovich from NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. This is the clincher that tells us an eruption of unprecedented size occurred here. The discovery was made using 4 telescopes: NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory, ESA's XMM Newton and Murchison Wide Field Array in Western Australia, and the giant Meter Wave Radio Telescope in India. Professor Johnston Howlett, who's the director of the MWA and an expert in galaxy clusters, like it, she discovered the first dinosaur bones. It's a bit like archaeology, he said. We've been given the tools to dig deeper with low-frequency radio telescopes, so we should be able to find more outbursts like this now. The finding underscores the importance of studying the universe at different wavelengths, Professor Johnston Howlett said. Going back and doing a multi-wavelength study has really made a difference here. Professor Johnston Howlett said the finding is likely to be the first of many. We made this discovery with phase 1 of the MWA. The telescope had 2,048 antennas pointed towards the sky. We're soon going to be gathering observations with 4,096 antennas, which should be 10 times more sensitive. I think that's pretty exciting, she said. All right, back to net. This is WB5OZL. All right, back to net. This is WB5OZL. All right, back to net. This is WB5OZL.
Thank you, Brenda. Another piece of Skynet is usually the visible satellite passages over the next few days, but I'm not going to do that. We're going to down toward the end. If you want to get satellite information about what's passing over your heads, go to the website heavens-above.com. You'll need your latitude, longitude, and your elevation, and it will give you exact information for seeing satellites in the morning and evening skies. Satellites in the morning and evening skies. Satellites in the morning and evening skies. Hey, we're toward the end. We only have 2 minutes left of Skynet. So, are there any last-minute check-ins to Skynet? Come now with your call sign, your name, and your location. Come now with your call sign, your name, and your location. Come now with your call sign, your name, and your location.
Normal state.
I don't know the name, the call sign of normal state, but okay. We had 29 check-ins tonight into Skynet. We had 29 check-ins tonight into Skynet. We had 29 check-ins. Thank you to all that checked into this evening. We hope you'll join us here next week and every Saturday night for the last 9 years, or we're in the 9th year now, at 9 p.m. to discuss astronomy, space exploration, and general stuff. On this net, the sky is never the limit. We're always looking for new net control stations that can do probably a much better job than I've done tonight for this and all other DARC nets. If you'd like to try your hand at this, you can email nets@w5fc.org. You can follow topics and discussions about this net and astronomy in general on Facebook and Twitter, as well as our audio and video streams and video archives and other useful internet resources by going to w5fc.org. At the conclusion of this net. So, until next Saturday night, this is KF5JHHS and I'll be closing the net at 10:29:51 local time and returning the repeater to normal amateur use. So nice to everyone. Enjoy the evening discovering the universe. Bye-bye. Everyone, enjoy the evening discovering the universe. Bye-bye. Everyone, enjoy the evening discovering the universe. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Chaz. Did an excellent net, even though you broke the stream. That's okay. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Go powder your noses, and then we'll be back for Sky Command, Space Command, something with Chad Everett in it. 10 minutes. KE5ICX. 10 minutes. KE5ICX.
This is WV5OZL. We're going to be starting the Afterglow net. Does anybody need to use the repeater first? Afterglow net. Does anybody need to use the repeater first? Afterglow net. Does anybody need to use the repeater first? Okay, tonight's fine film is Star Command, and I'm going to call on my partner in crime, KE5ICX. Please give us his usual succinct synopsis. Go ahead, Tom. Please give us his usual succinct synopsis. Go ahead, Tom. Please give us his usual succinct synopsis. Go ahead, Tom.
All right, thank you, Miss Brenda. This is KE5ICX. Let's see. Oh my, what can I say about this film? All right, let me tell you a little bit about it. It is a 1996 television film written by Melinda M. Snodgrass and directed by Jim Johnson, which was originally intended to be a television pilot produced by Paramount Television for the UPN. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. By Paramount Television for the UPN. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. All right, everybody pay attention. I have to tell you, I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's like 8 paragraphs long, and really it would take longer to read it than it is to actually watch the film. At an unspecified point several centuries in the future, the unified Earth is exploring and colonizing the galaxy. One of the earliest colonies, and maybe easiest, is the planet Cynosura. I think that's a medication for your sinus problems. But anyway, has declared independence and is attempting to establish its own sphere of influence as Earth's rival. The already tense situation escalates after Earth discovers and claimed an ideally habitable world named Miraz. After negotiations over joint access to Miraz break down, the Cynosurans decide to seize the planet by force. Miraz is undefended as the Cynosuran. They made it clear they would consider the stationing of an armed garrison there tantamount to the declaration of war. Consider the stationing of an armed garrison there tantamount to the declaration of war. At the orbital headquarters of Earth Star Corps, graduating cadets is assigned their new postings. 7 of the new ensigns, Ort, Fujisaki, Pressler, Zayas, McGinty, Dundee, Crocodile, and Jackson are assigned to training crews on the Corvette Surprise in the company of 2 experienced officers, Captain Ridnomore, the medical center guy, and First Officer Ivor Stetter. The Surprise begins its patrol, which includes a docking with an Earth carrier. Meanwhile, the Cynosuran task force of 5 heavy cruisers intercepts a MAIL ship headed for Miraz and tortures its pilot to death for information. The Surprise jumps into the Miraz system and is almost immediately ambushed by the Cynosuran task force. Surprise! Vastly outgunned and with its FTL drive disabled, for those of you who don't understand, that's faster than light drive. The Corvette flees after both of the ship's officers are lost in action. Ensign Ort assumes command. The trainees manage to fake their ship's crash on the moon of a gas giant, and the Cynosaurans resume their cautious approach to Miraz. On the ice moon, the trainees debate their course of action, since the Cynosaurans are obviously planning to exterminate the 25,000 Earth colonists on Miraz. They vote to relaunch the ship and do everything possible to prevent the attack. Ensign Jackson protests the decision as suicidal and demands that the Surprise either lay low or surrender to the Cynosaurus. He is outvoted. He He is outvoted, and the trainees begin repairing the ship. The disgruntled Jackson attempts to violently sabotage the launch and kidnaps Ort, Valius, and McGinty, planning on murdering them. However, before he can go through with this, all three are discovered bound and gagged by Fugasaki. She saves them when trainees carry out a makeshift court-martial, I don't know why, at which Jackson is sentenced to death. But he commits suicide before the sentence can be carried out, much like the director of this film. The surprise is launched and begins stalking the much slower Sinosauran task force. I'm almost done. Their first attack involves towing a swarm, not a cackle, but a swarm of asteroids into a path of the unsuspecting Sinosauran cruisers, one of which is destroyed. The surprise next tries to lay an ambush by concealing itself in a commentary coma, only to have the enemy coincidentally, you try and say these C words, coincidentally attempt the same thing. The surprise attack from behind causes the two of the enemy to collide and explode. Next, the surprise crew managed to spoof the sensors of the remaining two enemy ships while in close proximity to the gas giant, destroying another cruiser. At this point, out of tricks and ammunition and story plot, the surprise positions itself above Miraz, even though a one-to-one confrontation with the last remaining cruiser is expected to be hopeless. In a fierce battle, the cruiser takes damage, but the surprise is crippled too, because it's a very small model. As the Sinosauran captain prepares to administer a coup de grace, his missile is intercepted by a newly arrived Earth fleet with flashing blue lights, causing the enemy to withdraw, which means it's the really bad fifth act. Okay, I'm really sorry I read that. Sounds like something from Canada. Back to net control. This is KE5I6. Something from Canada. Back to net control.
Oh my, don't be mean to Canada. We like Canada. Okay, here's the drill. Sign in with your call sign phonetically, your name, and whether or not you saw the movie. We're going to start with short time and low power. Please come out. You saw the movie. We're going to start with short time and low power. Please come out. You saw the movie. We're going to start with short time.
Kilo India 5, Gulf Romeo Hotel. I did not see it. Short time, Melissa in Dallas. Hotel. I did not see it. Short time, Melissa in Dallas. Hotel. I did not see it. Short time, Melissa in Dallas.
KAF5 GRH, Melissa, who did not see the movie. And just because you didn't see it does not mean you can't make comments about the movie or science fiction in general or anything else you want to talk about. All right, general check-ins, please come out. Anything else you want to talk about?
Kilo Golf 5, Zombies Need Jobs. Yes, I saw the movie, and it's Frank in Flower Mound. And I heard that, Tom. Yes, I saw the movie, and it's Frank in Flower Mound. And I heard that, Tom. Yes, I saw the movie, and it's Frank.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Tango Sierra Kilo, rural in Dallas. I did see the film. Tango Sierra Kilo.
This movie's unwatchable.
Rural in Dallas.
So I don't really have much to contribute. Although, I do have a list of movies that we should watch. But this ain't one of them, KG5P. I do have a list of movies that we should watch. This ain't one of them, KG5P. I do have a list of movies that we should watch. This ain't one of them, KG5P.
Kilo Echo 5, India, Charlie X-Ray, Tom in Louisville. Yes, it was unwatchable, but I watched it anyway. So yes, I saw the film. But I watched it anyway. So yes, I saw the film. But I watched it anyway.
KF5, KG5, zombies need jobs, Frank, who did see it. KF5, TSK Burl, who did. KG5P, Mike, who didn't. KE5, ICX, Tom, who did. All right, let's go with Echolink now. ICX, Tom, who did. All right, let's go with Echolink now. ICX, Tom, who did. All right, let's go with Echolink now. Okay, nobody heard. Any other check-in? Okay, nobody heard. Any other check-in?
Kilo X-ray 7, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, Sean Mobile from Benton. I have not seen the movie. Tango Foxtrot, Sean Mobile from Benton. I have not seen the movie. Whiskey 5, Echo Bravo Bravo. David in Dallas, I saw a movie that starts with the word star. W5EBB. I saw a movie that starts with the word star. W5EBB.
Okay, I think it's Kilo X-Ray 7, Yankee X-Ray Tango, Sean, who didn't see the movie. You can correct me if I got your call sign wrong. And W5EBB David, who it's unclear whether he saw it. Okay, anybody else? It's unclear whether he saw it. Okay, anybody else?
Correction on the call sign, that's Kilo X-Ray 7, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Call sign, that's Kilo X-Ray 7.
Boy, how did I mess that up so badly? KX7WTF Sean. Right, welcome to the net. Okay, anybody else? TF Sean. Right, welcome to the net. Okay, anybody else? TF Sean. Right, welcome to the net. Okay, anybody else? All right, let's get started. GRH, Melissa, do you have anything to mention tonight? GRH, Melissa, do you have anything to mention tonight? GRH, Melissa, do you have anything to mention tonight?
I'm sorry, were you calling me? I was talking.
So, KG5ZNJ, Frank, tell us about the plot. KG5ZNJ.
This is KG5ZNJ. Well, this movie, well, it was kind of like as if Hallmark Channel decided to make a sci-fi pilot and it didn't go anywhere. So it pitted those Sinosaurians or whatever they were called against, the Earthlings. So it was kind of like, I guess the Earth had some kind of separation and now there's two factions or something. And they had this shadow war to claim ownership of this planet called Meraz or something like that. So the heroes were the young space Navy cadets of the Star Corps, or Corps as I like to say, commanded by Mr. Peterman of Seinfeld and his beautiful assistant, Morgan Fairchild. Basically, it was a mix of Beverly Hills 90210, Knots Landing, Falcon Crest, and even the Love Boat, given the little white outfits they were wearing with those little, cheerleader skirts and stuff. And even Short Circuit, you remember that robot? Yeah, well, that robot in the movie was kind of like that. So it was just this big, pointless mashup. And a beat it for the boonies and shape these space rats up before the shooting starts action type space movie. And they even had Fabio in there, remember that guy? So they had the guy in the pirate shirt. That was pretty cool. And the ship, the Corvette Surprise. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Yeah. Didn't really have a good ring to it, not like the Starship Enterprise. And, to quote the movie, permission to get really depressed. In the end, I say engage. And I just wasted all your time because I could have summarized the review of Star Command with 2 words. Star Commode. That's fancy for toilet. KG5ZNJ, back to you.
Oh, that is so funny. Okay, KF5TSK Burl plot, or lack thereof. Okay, KF5TSK Burl.
This is KF5TSK. Well, wasn't much of a plot, but for some reason it didn't seem believable to me that, you spent all this time in a military academy and the thing you can think of is, well, either we need to hide or we need to turn and go home as fast as we can. And the names of everything in this movie, from the characters to the planets to the spaceships, I mean, it's almost like they wanted to make a comedy, but they didn't really make it. And, as far as the plot, it's like, the things they were trying to fake, we're going to have a suicide. It's like, what kind of picture made for TV, includes that? That's all I'm going to say for now. KF5TSK, back to that.
Okay, I understand that Melissa doubles with me, KI5GRH. Did you have something to say? Doubles with me, KI5GRH. Did you have something to say?
Well, not really, ma'am. I thought I overheard you calling me, and I had been talking. Anyway, sounds like a great movie that I missed. KF5GRH. Sounds like a great movie that I missed. KF5GRH.
Well, you can always go back and watch it. It's there for free. KG5P, Mike. Didn't see the movie, but you want to say anything about it? Mike. Didn't see the movie, but you want to have...
Oh, actually, Brenda, I really have nothing to say. I couldn't get into it, so... That's all I can say. So, you'll have to count me out of this round. Thank you, KG5P.
Okay, KE5ICX, Tom. Okay, KE5ICX, Tom.
Well, thank you, Brenda, and thanks for doing this fine film. Here's the thing. I had to go back and check because Melinda Snodgrass, what a name, really, wrote what I consider probably the second, third best episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, Measure of a Man, which I thought was excellent. And I go back and I watch it many times, and I really enjoyed it. It's courtroom drama, whether Data is a person or not, or whether he's a slave. I mean, she brings this out, former litigator. She's also written for Odyssey 5, The Outer Limits, Sequest DSP, Reasonable Doubts, and The Profiler. I'm thinking, wow. So this has got to be good. That is wrong. It's terrible. And why she put her name on this thing, I don't know. In big blue, capital letters, no less. And why she put her name on this thing, I don't know. In big blue, capital letters, no less. This is every bad kid program ever done. Star Academy or Space Academy, I don't know, but there are other shows with this. There's the Judy Doohan one, there's the Jonathan Harrison one, and it really looks like those. It's limited in scope. We can get into the actual, stuff having to do with how the story actually unfolds visually, and we can do that on the next round. But overall, the story was unengaging and really boring, which was really surprising for her because I really like her stuff. Which was really surprising for her because I really like her stuff. the idea of wherever this planet is, I don't know, Mraz, where the hell is Mraz? Is it in the solar system? Is it outside the solar system? Oh, wait, they had FTL, which is faster than light drive. I was trying to think of something clever, but I can't think of anything for L, loser. But in any case, where is this planet? Why does it matter? And of course, it's really great because we can see the good guys in white, they're dressed white, and then you got the bad guys in black, and they're going to fight each other. When you are a jet, or something like that, whatever FTL jet would be, it just amazed me how I wanted them both to blow up, both sides to blow up. That would have been great. And then the Enterprise would have flown in triumphantly and picked up Worf because his ship got blown up the first chance it had. And, I don't know. Maybe throw a couple of Borg in there would have helped. I'm not sure. But in any case, Melinda, you're on my warning list. And I sent her an email with exclamation points that you better fix this stuff from 1996. Get your time machine and make it happen. KE5ICX. Get your time machine and make it happen.
Okay. KX7WTF, Sean didn't see it, but do you have comments? KX7WTF, Sean didn't see it, but do you have comments?
No comments other than I probably didn't really miss anything from the sounds of it. KX7WTF, back to net. Probably didn't really miss anything from the sounds of it. KX7WTF, back to net.
Okay, W5EBB David, go ahead. Tell us whatever you saw. Okay, W5EBB David.
All right, thanks, Brenda. Well, I thought the plot was pretty good. The movie starts off with a Star Wars-style crawl, and after the title crawl, the film cuts to the USS Constellation Prize being attacked by a spaceship that looks like a Star Destroyer. We're then introduced to the ship's crew, Captain Quirk and Mr. Spock. A menacing figure named Dark Vapor then appears, telling them they are about to be captured as part of the rebellious alliance. Upon realizing that the rest of the crew won't appear due to budget cuts, they escape in a shuttlecraft and land on Earth in the year 2001. They climb over a ridge to find a monolith which belongs to a cigar-smoking star child. He says the monolith is broken and the universe is falling apart because of it. He states it's up to Quirk and Spock to repair it. They are also told that the dark smell of the Force wants to steal the monolith for its power. But both sides can summon any warrior from any universe. Mr. Spock uses his tape recorder to do this to help their side of the fight. And the competitors that are summoned are the Schwarzenegger versus RoboFuzz and the Predator versus NT the Non-Terrestrial. Right as Spock and Quirk believe that they are victorious, the monolith is stolen by Dark Vapor's henchman, Minimal, flying his bow-tie fighter. Quirk and Spock secretly follow him into Dark Vapor's starship, where a fight ensues. Meanwhile, Quirk's mechanic, Mr. Squatty, realizes the monolith's battery died and it just needed a jump start. The monolith is then repaired. Mr. Spock dispatches the rest of Vapor's henchmen in an asteroid field with a 12-gauge shotgun. Quirk is then reunited on the USS Constellation Prize with Spock and dispatched Dark Vapor by launching a missile into his ship. With evil now vanquished, Captain Quirk wonders why RoboFuzz and NT the Non-Terrestrial have not been returned to their respective universes. The Star Child then reappears to them and informs them that they have yet to battle the true evil, and to defeat it they must reunite with their enemies. Quirk, Spock, Vapor, and Minimal are then transported to a desert wasteland where they meet Jar Jar Binks. For a reason they can't explain, they all suddenly feel pure hatred toward him and attack. They tie him up with his own tongue and throw him over a cliff. The Star Child then informs them that their duties are done and they are sent back to their respective universes. W5EBB. And they are sent back to their respective universes. W5EBB.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. That was a good movie. thought I'd like to do a segment on fashion. Because there was no plot. Well, you know, people shot each other and things caught on fire and things exploded. Just typical, you know, just a generic plot. Anyway, it was 1996. They didn't get the memo that miniskirts were out. They wore them anyway. And truly, wearing a miniskirt in combat is just stupid. Now, they had really good beauty shop on this ship because everybody's hair was perfectly coiffed. I'll have to say that. And good genetics. Most everybody was very attractive, I must say. Even the people who were just a little bit older were really attractive. Love Martin Fairchild's hair. I don't think she had slept in 20 years because she couldn't mess her hair up. Chad Everett looked pretty good. I was really sad to see him die. And Morgan Fairchild was wearing high heels with that short skirt. High heels in combat on a spaceship. Really? Let me see. What else? I love the white suits. Those are spiffy. Totally impractical. You can't move around in them. Man, did they look great. Now, there were lots of women on this thing. No mention of who made coffee, which they usually do in these movies. So, I don't know. All right. This is WB5OZL. Do we have any more check-ins? This is WB5OZL. Do we have any more check-ins? This is WB5OZL. Do we have any more check-ins? All right, we're going to go around again and talk about characterization. KI5GRH. Melissa, do you have anything to add? KI5GRH. Melissa, do you have anything to add?
Well, I have no idea what to say about it because I didn't see it. But I love listening to everyone's descriptions of it, so I'll just keep listening. KI5GRH.
All right, Eddie, you just go right ahead. Let's see, we're going to check in N5IMS. JJ. Did you want to say anything, JJ, or I guess you're on Echo Link. I'll give you a couple of seconds if you want to say something. I guess you're on Echo Link. I'll give you a couple of seconds if you want to say something. I guess you're on Echo Link. I'll give you a couple of seconds if you want to say something. Understand he's just listening. Okay, KG5ZNJ, Frank, what do you think about these characters from, what was it, Starship Troopers? No, wrong movie. Go ahead.
This is KG5ZNJ. Yeah, the characters from Space Toilet. Star Command, I'm sorry. Well, you had, like I said, Captain Peterman from Seinfeld there, and Morgan Fairchild, and yeah, you're right there, Brenda. There's no way that that much hairspray would be rated for space travel. So just one little spark, and I mean that whole ship would have blown up from that hair. But yeah, you know, you had them, and they had the kids from Beverly Hills 90210 all spiffed out, and hey, well, I noticed one of those guys, one of the kids was the kid from Uncle Buck. You remember that thing? The guy who played Bug, you know, the guy with the beret who was always trying to do things to Buck's niece, you know, and Buck, you know, put the drill to him. Remember that? He's grown up in this movie, well, sort of, and he's in there. And it had the girl from this sci-fi show from Canada. I don't know if you guys ever saw this one. It was called Lex, Lexx. It was made in Canada. I had forgotten all about it. And it was also, some of it was made in Germany, but almost all of it was made in Nova Scotia. And it was a very racy sci-fi series that was pretty much rated R. There was some pretty racy stuff. And anyways, the girl in the hot tub with Fabio the space pirate, she was the star of that. And her name was Eva Habermann from Germany. That blonde girl there with in the bubble bath there. And I forgot all about that show, and I remembered it now. So maybe that got shown in the U.S. I don't know, but that's one of those Canadian sci-fi shows. Yeah, not good. But I don't know what else to say other than the Sinosaurian captain. I don't know why, but he reminded me of Sergeant Schultz from Hogan's Heroes. Well, just a little bit. Anyways, KG5 ZNJ back to space control. Anyways, KG5 ZNJ back to space control. KG5 ZNJ back to space control.
All right, thank you, Frank. KF5 PSK Burl. Go ahead. All right, thank you, Frank.
This KF5 PSK. Well, one of the things that I wonder about looking at this movie is, maybe we're writing instructions on how to fix this movie. As far as the characters, the thing that bothered me most was there was not really much background on anyone. That it was just, the same 6 or 7 characters, and everything seemed dull about them. There was no particular lead. There's no real background. Everyone just seemed dull to me. Can't find TSK back to that. Everyone just seemed dull to me. Can't find TSK back to that. Everyone just seemed dull to me.
All right. KG5P Mike, I think he's just listening. Or anyway, he didn't see the movie. K5ICX characters. K5ICX characters.
Well, thank you, Miss Brenda, and thank you for doing the net this evening. You're doing an excellent job. Look out for the iceberg ahead. Well, let's see. What is it about this? All of the characters had something going on. All of them had just simpleton things about them. We had, let's see, the Admiral's son who can't live up to the family's reputation but ends up saving the day. A tough girl from the slums of L.A., a rich boy slacker, the treacherous Howard, the smart Japanese female engineer, and the female African-American pilot round out the ethnic mix. There's no backstory whatsoever. And essentially the Power Rangers without their giant robot. To add star power, we have Chad Everett from Fortson High School, our arch nemesis in Dearborn, Michigan. I went to Dearborn High, and we had, who was it? Who was my guy? I'm trying to remember. George Picard. George Picard beat up Chad Everett with his hand tied behind his back, and I think he did once. And as mentioned earlier by radio's Frank, Morgan Fairchild was also in it as his faithful assistant. So what does this all mean? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know where this show was supposed to go or how or anything else. Hold on, I have to let the dogs out. I don't know where this show was supposed to go or how or anything else. Hold on, I have to let the dogs out. Apparently they didn't like the movie either. But, no, the characterizations are very one-dimensional. I don't understand why this is so bad. Snodgrass, as a writer, is really good. And somehow or another, she must have put this thing out while she was walking the dog or something, and then turned it in as homework. And that was the end of it. I'm just totally flabbergasted that they came up with this. Maybe it has something to do with whatever the director or the producer or whatever was trying to do. This is very pedestrian stuff. This has been done over and over and over and over again, and the characters have been done over and over and over again, making it very unentertaining. I can see why, as this was a pilot for a series, that it got shot down, and deservedly so, with the cystic fibrosis people. I don't know. Back to you. KE5ICX. KE5ICX. I forgot the X part. To you. KE5ICX. KE5ICX. I forgot the X part. To you. KE5ICX.
All right. KX7WTF, Sean, do you have anything to add? KX7WTF, Sean, do you have anything to add?
No, ma'am. Back to control. KX7WTF. No, ma'am. Back to control.
Okay, W5EBB David, tell us about the characters in your movie.
Well, a few of the characters I forgot to mention that were also in the movie included, let's see, Uglian as the alien, and from X-Files, Agent Moldy and Agent Scummy. And there's a cameo by Darth Brooks as Dark Vapor's evil boss and country western singer. W5EBB. Dark Vapor's evil boss and country western singer. W5EBB. Dark Vapor's evil boss.
Oh, that's it? Okay. Well, it sounds like a lot of fun. Alright, it's my turn. The characters were one-dimensional plastic. And as far as the story goes, I think Melinda Snodgrass, needed work. She needed a job to write the story, because you're a science fiction writer. And they didn't really want a science fiction story. They just wanted a space western. And my guess is she was horrified to put her name on it at the end, because she's a credible writer. That's Star Trek with Data is one of everybody's favorites. It's just so thoughtful and so well done. I just can't believe she would want to put her name on it. So well done. I had trouble telling people apart. They're just all, pretty things, and not a whole lot of dimension to them. And there were times when I couldn't figure out what their motivation was, or whose side they were on even. I just didn't think they were very well fleshed out myself. All right, any more check-ins? They were very well fleshed out myself. All right, any more check-ins?
APT-9B. What I miss?
Well, David saw a really good movie. He told us all about it, but it wasn't the movie we saw. Would you like to play catch-up and talk to us about what you thought about the plot and the characters? You could interweave those both at the same time if you want. The plot and the characters, you could interweave those both.
There was a plot? I don't remember there being a plot. All I remember was, I don't remember a plot. It seemed rather formulaic and unimaginative and kind of dumb. The characters, unimaginative. I think it would probably be kind and maybe stretching the truth a little to say that they were two-dimensional. I'm not even sure they had that many dimensions. They were folded. I did like some of the special, the graphics. I mean, it was all obviously CGI, but it was kind of cool. It was like, if the acting hadn't been so incredibly bad, it wouldn't. And I mean, that's almost as bad as much as Star Trek: The Next Generation. But if the acting hadn't been so bad, I would have liked to have seen another one, because the premise, the whole folding space. Where have I heard that before? Oh yeah. And the little
stinger that comes down and makes a thing in space, and the ship goes through it. You know, that's kind of cool. And there was a little bit, you know, some imaginative stuff that happened, and most of the characters were pretty dumb. Pretty dumb, yeah, okay. But yeah, okay, so, yeah, that's kind of it, I think. Back to net control, world control, mind control, whatever you are. WT9V, net control, world control, mind control, whatever you are.
I don't want to be mind control, not in this bunch. Yeah, the characters were, did you ever read Flatland? The story about two-dimensional characters. I think that's where these people were from. Okay, let's go back to the top. We're going to talk about special effects. Really? Dead fire. Okay, KI5, GRH, Melissa, go ahead. KI5, GRH, Melissa, go ahead.
Well, I have a question. I discovered the YouTube channel, and so how do you watch with the delay going on? Anyway, that's KI5GRH.
Let me ask, are you on in the Afterglow group? Let me ask, are you on in the Afterglow group?
I'm just watching the live YouTube version, and it's delayed, and I'm trying to listen to my radio and the YouTube thing. KI5GRH.
Okay, it's a Facebook page called Afterglow Movie. AFTERGLOW, one word, and then movie. And Tom always puts up a link so that you can watch it for free and watch the same one that we all watch. It's the same language and same links and all. But just send Tom an email or go to the Afterglow site and join, and he'll be happy to put you on the list so that you can watch the movie with us. And you know, we can't watch everything because they're not public domain. Generally, we watch free movies. All right. Any more questions?
WT9V.
All right. WT9V. Go ahead, Michael.
Actually, what she was asking was she's on the video watching the live feed, and Melissa, the way I normally watch the live feed is I turn the volume on it down, and then I kind of watch Tom's reaction to things with one eye. Of course, it's a little weird because it's about 20, 25, 30 seconds delayed, thanks to YouTube or whatever, I don't know. But does that answer your question? Does that answer your question?
Yes, that does answer my question. Yes, I'm trying to watch it. I'm hearing one echo in one ear and listening to my radio in the other, and yeah, it's kind of hard to watch. But it's something to watch, which I didn't realize you could do that in ham. Okay, thanks. KI5GRH.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood your intent. Yeah, you can only have one source. I have to turn one or the other down. Well, I can't turn the radio down, but I turned down the stream. It generally gets a little more rowdy as the evening goes on. Tom will start doing show and tell or making faces, or it is well worth the price of admission, let me tell you. All right, next, Frank, KG5ZNJ. Special effects.
This is KG5ZNJ. The Corvette Surprise. You know, they should have called it the Corvette Summer, you know? Remember that movie? Jeez, I remember I saw that at the drive-in. I was kind of young, but I was old enough that I should have known better, but I grew up pretty naive up in Canada, and I asked my mother what a hooker was. Jeez, that was awkward. Jesus. Anyway, yeah, a lot of that movie was filmed in in a mall, you know, with the escalators and that kind of cracked me up, you know, that being the 90s, you know. I'm sure they went shopping there to get some of those outfits, you know, maybe the DoorDash jeans store, you know, and they probably got some leather fanny packs too. Those were pretty cool in the 90s, you know. So that was awesome. I don't know, mid-90s CGI, I guess that was probably the only good thing you could say about that. They were, for the time and the budget, the special effects were actually okay. I'll give them that. It was all right. That's all I can say about it. KG5 Center J, back to Space Control. All I can say about it.
Space Control, I like that. I do want to point out that Corvette Summer, the Star Wars Mark Hamill, this is about the time he did the first Star Wars, and I don't think it helped his career very much, although the movie did make money. I never saw it, so maybe I'll have to do that one of these days. Okay, KF5TSK Burl, special effects.
This KF5TSK. Well, I didn't see anything that was really, you know, spectacular. You know, the fire and the whatever it is. I don't know what to say. It's you know, it wasn't spectacular, but it wasn't. It was probably better than the 50s, but it wasn't much better. KF5TSK back to that, but it wasn't much better.
Alrighty, KE5ICX, special effects. KE5ICX, special effects.
Well, thank you, Brenda, and thank you for flying this turkey this evening. I gotta tell you some things about special effects. One of the things that really drove me nuts is sound. Sound is really kind of amazing in a way. Maybe it's ironic because I don't know. This film, it sounded like the microphones were very far away. There was a heavy echo that you could hear, and in some cases that a single microphone was suspended high above the actors, so you could hear the hard echo and the noise from whatever equipment and everything they had. It was all done in a single scene. You don't do that. You don't do that at all. You always take and you make sure that the mics are close. Use a boom mic if you need to get the sound, and you have this person over here holding the boom mic up so you get good fidelity, good sound without the echo. And that was exactly not what happened in this film. And this is supposed to be, I don't know, Paramount Pictures. What happened? Everybody was, somebody pulled a fire alarm and they made this movie, and while they were outside smoking? I don't understand. That was terrible. While they were outside smoking? I don't understand. That was terrible. The other thing that was, several things were lacking in the thing was, of course, the special effects. 1996, you can't give them a lot of credit, but don't forget, we had already had Star Trek, The Next Generation, and it had lots of stuff going on in it. It had real special effects, and they had money and everything. Perhaps they gave it all to Snodgrass or something, I don't know, but it looked cheap. Almost as bad as Babylon 5 as far as the external special effects, but not as bad as the Star Lost. And nothing could be as, well, yeah, it could, but in any case, it wasn't that good. It didn't look all that great. And then finally, the music. The music, electronic music, occasionally it did rise to the occasion during some of the battles, and I think that they just kind of plugged in whatever it is, the extra sound stuff, the violin sound into it, and that helped some. But I I agree with Frank with the escalator stuff and all that. It was very obvious this was filmed on a cheap budget. But what surprises me is that this is a real knockoff. Usually, what happens with any film of this non-caliber is that you want, a director wants to make it look decent. The writer wants to tell a decent story. The actors want to try and do a good job. They're all there. They're artists. They are people that want to create something from nothing. But I sensed none of that. I feel that everybody was, they were taken into a room, and everybody was worked over and said, do not be creative, do not do anything special in this film. You are being paid to do this from 8 till 5. There will be no reshoots. There will be no fun. Nobody is going to come out of this thing with a career. Do you understand me? Do you understand me? That's what it looked like. And the special effects, same way. They bring them in the room. You're the special effects people. I don't want you to think outside of the box. We got $10 and you're going to spend every penny of it and not a penny more. Now get out of here. And don't even think about having a career after this. It's like what it felt like. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the management had armbands or something, but jeez, really bad. I can't imagine who picked this film, but whoever did, they should be banned from ever watching more movies and recommending them. KE5ICX, ever watching more movies and recommending them. KE5ICX, ever watching more movies.
There's other cars to bring out and show once in a while when we're training cars. Who's next? W5 EBB, David.
We know this movie, Star Command. Okay, I'll talk about this movie for a second. There's an analogy. Melissa Snodgrass is to Star Command as Peter Packer is to the Great Vegetable Rebellion. Tom, I know you got that. I don't know if anybody else got it. But Melissa should have invoked her writer's guild privilege of using a pseudonym for the writer's credit. Something like what Harlan Ellison did for The Star Lost as Cordwainer Bird. She really should have distanced herself if indeed she did in fact write this. Whatever it was. Now, I did fast forward through Star Command, the whole movie in about 30 seconds, and in that span had determined that this was a movie I did not want to wish that I could unwatch. So I didn't watch it. So instead, I did a search on Amazon Prime for any alternative movie that starts with the word star, hoping maybe I'd get partial credit for being on the net tonight. So that was Mr. Lou. The movie that I watched instead was Star Warped. That's WARP''D, which is a 2001 claymation parody film. The plot, a combination of about 15 different science fiction movies and TV shows, done, of course, as a parody. And it's not available on YouTube, but it was back in 2001. And I think I actually know one of the person who was one of the character actors. He was on a forum, that sci-fi forum I used to be on. But I don't know. But it was pretty funny. It was really pretty funny. And only 32 minutes. Star Warped. W5EBB. It was really pretty funny. And only 32 minutes. Star Warped. W5EBB.
Well, that actually sounds pretty good. If my name was Snodgrass, I probably would have changed it as a child. I'm sure she led a miserable life as the other kids teased her. Yeah, she should have used the synonym. What? A fake name. Oh, it's late and I'm tired. My brain doesn't work very well. So, next up, WT9V. Go ahead. Next up.
on net that Brenda is hosting, which means the movie was terrible, but it wasn't at her normal level of terrible that she gets assigned. I mean, I think Tom picks these on purpose, so that he and I get better movies, and Brenda gets the real dogs. But it wasn't that bad. It was kind of cute and fun. If you ignored the acting, it wasn't all that bad. And the dialogue. Maybe watch it with the sound down. Some of the special effects, I'm thinking they were trying to copy Babylon 5 and weren't quite as good. But I don't think, they didn't put as much care into it, I don't think, as they did with Babylon 5. Like I said, there were some interesting bits in it, some interesting concepts, some kind of fun stuff, but overall, you were probably right to give it a miss. WT9V. Overall, you were probably right to give it a miss. WT9V. Overall, you were probably right.
Babylon 5 is a work of art. It is one of the best series ever made. Don't utter its name in the same breath as this movie. That's just sacrilege. All right, any more check-ins? Just sacrilege. All right, any more check-ins?
Kilo Mike 5 Lima. Patrick Dallas. Kilo Mike 5 Lima. Patrick Dallas.
Patrick, would you come back with your call sign again, please?
Well, sure, it's Kilo Mike 5 Lima. Well, sure, it's Kilo.
Okay, Kilo Mike 5 Lima. Welcome to the net. Did you see this movie? And would you like to make comments whether you saw it or not?
No, but I'm listening, just learning a lot. But when Outlaw Josie Wales come around, I'll have more to say. When Outlaw Josie Wales come around.
We only do science fiction. I'm sorry. Well, welcome to the net anyway. So you can feel free to jump in anytime. All right. We've kind of reached the end of our rope. So I'm getting a message that we don't do only sci-fi. Well, we've never done a Western, unless you count Westworld. It's pretty much sci-fi or fantasy or something. Something in that general genre. Okay, we're going to have one last round. So if you want to say something, then tell us your call sign and we will take turns. Tell us your call sign and we will take turns. Tell us your call sign and we will take turns.
Is that crickets I hear? WT9V.
The crickets deserted us. They jumped off the ship. We don't even have crickets. Wow. Come on, people. Surely somebody has some parting shot. Come on, people. Surely somebody has some parting shot.
MICX.
Mr. Callsign, come back with it, please. Mr. Callsign, come back with it, please.
KI5GRH.
ICX.
KI5GRH.
ICX.
KG5, set engine. KG5, set engine.
Alright, KI5GRH. Melissa, go ahead. Alright, KI5.
I just wanted to get rid of the crickets, so since nobody was coming back, I just wanted to let you know I didn't jump ship, and I enjoyed this net, and wish you a good evening. Yeah, bye, dearie.
All right, well, I'm glad you joined us. Maybe next time you'll be able to watch the movie, and you can make comments also. K5ICX, go ahead. K5ICX, go ahead.
All right, I just have a general comment about being able to go into space. Now, here's the thing. I've always found technology to be one of these limiting things that the people who get involved with, technology have a tendency to kind of like the technology, and they get into it. And going into space is hard. It's difficult to do. And you would think that somehow or another, the people that get into space are able to think in a rational way. Now, every once in a while, you get the crazy person like that gal who went and stalked her boyfriend, who was the astronaut, and got kicked out of the astronaut corps, Star Command, NASA's Star Command, and they're nuts, and that happens, but everybody else should be kind of normal and really caring and able to do things. I mean, in 6 years we went to the moon. But somehow or another, what is it about all of these galactic agencies that can't seem to get it right? Let me tell you something. Now I'm angry. Have you ever noticed on Star Trek that all of the admirals, they got crazy admirals, they got crazy captains. Don't forget Captain Tracy, that nut job. Or Commodore, not Mendez, the other one, Commodore Decker. Mendez was good. Decker was nuts. Goes and takes a shuttlecraft that was double parked and sticks it in that big fuel thing. I mean, what is it about space that turns these people nuts? I mean, come on. It seems to happen with everybody, and it especially happened in this movie. Being stupid is really important. I'll bet you the surprise had the left blinker light on for 100 zillion miles. Why does science fiction have those dumb people? Even in good science fiction, and I'll put it in quotes, Babylon 5 comes close, with dumb characters. They're there, and you go, I hate them. But that seems to be a thing that happens. I don't know. Why aren't people smarter? KE5ICX.
WT9V.
Why aren't people smarter? KE5ICX.
Okay, do you want to be put at the end of the list, or you want to make a comment about Tom's comment? WT9V.
I want to comment about Tom's comment.
All right, we're going to insert you into this list. WT9V, go ahead.
Well, this is the first time I've been inserted in a while. So, Tom, I think the thing is that these days, going into space is a very selective thing. It's only like the best of the best, and we still got a nut job. But in the future, when it's science fiction, and everybody's in space, then the average dumb people that are all around us now, watch the next time you're driving, how many people are driving around in the dark with their headlights off. They'll be in space, too. And, of course, they're more interesting to highlight than the smart people. And, of course, that's theory. WT9V. Highlight than the smart people. And, of course, that's theory. WT9V.
Yeah, we're going to have old ladies in space going, that's not how any of this works. Okay, KG5ZNJ, go ahead.
This is KG5ZNJ. I would agree with that comment. There are quite a lot of cretins, or cretins, as you may pronounce it, out there, and they can sneak their way through, multiple choice tests pretty good. So you can't discount that. And the other thing is there is such a thing as space madness. And you see it all the time. They go out in space and then there's something about being in space. It just makes somebody crack. And then they go nuts. What the heck was I going to say anyway? Oh, yeah. I would like to think that maybe we could nominate this film as America's Star Lost. I mean, it really is as close as anything as I've seen as a Star Lost for America. That's it. KG5ZNJ back to space control for America. That's it. KG5ZNJ back to space control.
All right, thank you. Well, most movies are pretty lousy. They make movies to make money, obviously, and when it comes to science fiction, they go, oh, I bet we could make money if we made a science fiction movie. And so he says, okay, what's that about? And so, spaceships and explosions and ray guns and monsters and fighters. We'll just use all the common elements and somehow make it look different, and we'll make money. And then you end up with a stinking pile of garbage that nobody wants to watch. But anyway, just think about the wonderful movies like Close Encounters that you can watch over and over and over again and never get tired of it. Maybe not scientific, but it certainly has heart. We'll say that. All right. Anybody else want to say anything about anything? All right. Anybody else want to say anything about anything?
W5EBB.
W5EBB.
Well, I think the relevant quote is, going into space is easy, comedy is hard. I think the relevant quote W5EBB. Going into space is easy, comedy is hard. W5EBB.
That was so profound. Okay, any more comments? That was so profound. Okay, any more comments? That was so profound. Okay, any more comments? Okay, we're at the bus stop here. So I'm going to ask Tom to talk to us about next week. KE5ICX. Talk to us about next week. KE5ICX.
Why, thank you, Brenda. Now it's time, because we're getting into the quality controls. We'll be doing either one of two movies, because I was checking the links to see if they still work. It may not. It'll either be Planet of the Apes from 1967 or Dawn of the Planet of the Apes from 2007 or something. I don't know which, but it'll be one or the other. There will be apes and there will be a planet. I'll let you know. If you want additional information, or you'd like to sign up to find out what's happening with this, it's the 3 P's, price, and price. No, what it is send an email to me, Tom, KE5ICX, just Kilo Echo 5, India Charlie X-ray at yahoo.com, and I'll put you on the list. Or you can go to the Yahoo page, what the hell is it? Facebook page, Afterglow Movie, that's 2 words, Afterglow and Movie, and say you'd like to join us. And then I'll send you the links there, too. We try and be as forthright and upright and all of that, and sometimes some of the movies just disappear because they're at the end of the month. Today is the end of the month, so that may be our problem. But I'll let you know. It'll have apes in it. KE5ICX. I'll let you know. It'll have apes in it. KE5ICX. I'll let you know. It'll have apes in it.
Okay, well, we have a pretty good group tonight. Let me see on the count. Okay, well, we have a pretty good group tonight. Let me see on the count. We had 11 check-ins. And I know we had some lurkers also. Anyway, thank you all for participating. You're all really funny and brilliant, and I enjoy it immensely. All right, we're going to sign off now. This is WV5OZL. All right. We're going to sign off now. This is WV5OZL. All right. We're going to sign off now. This is WV5OZL.
Point of order, Mr. Ex-President. Will there be apes on the planet, or will this be separate things? Mr. Ex-President. Will there be apes on the planet, or will this be separate things? Mr. Ex-President. Will there be...
I can't tell you that. There was one. Well, there's been several with little apes or simians, and now we have, what was that movie? Robinson Crusoe on Mars had a little simian in it. We also had Debbie from Lost in Space, the little rubber head with the long ears thing, the simian from that. There could be more. What do you think? The simian from that. There could be
I don't know, but that's a very nice jar full of pins you have there that you were waving at the camera. I don't know, but that's a very nice jar full of pins you have there that you were waving at the camera. I don't know, but that's a very...
Yes, thank you. A friend of mine gave them to me. So, yeah, I use them all the time. In fact, I'm holding it up to the camera, but you can't see it because it'll be another 20 seconds. I have a misspelled pen from that collection. In fact, all of them are misspelled or missing stuff. Perfect. That collection. In fact, all of them are misspelled or missing.
KM5L.
Perfect.
KM5L. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Tom, I see no one answered your pontificating question. I have another question for you. Tom, I see no one answered your pontificating question. I have another question for you. Tom, I see...
Well, Patrick, go ahead, as long as there's no math involved. Well, Patrick, go ahead, as long as there's no math involved.
It is a science question. You know, I got to thinking, which is dangerous, I know, but if we all designated a date, like next week, but if we worldwide, and we stocked up in our houses to feed our families for 3 weeks, worldwide, and water for 3 weeks, and we just suspended the need to grow the GDP in all our countries, and we didn't leave our houses, would we not eliminate all viruses, including cold and flu and sickness, for a very, very, very long time? How about that one? For a very, very, very long time. How about that one?
There are some viruses that you don't get over. WT9B. There are some viruses that you don't get over.
Viruses evolve, and most of these come from animals. They jump across species. And most of these come
Well,
from animals.
the most recent virus can be cured by drinking a six-pack of Mexican beer. The most recent virus can be cured by drinking a six-pack
Okay,
of
wait a minute.
Mexican beer.
Let's be reasonable in our responses. I'm talking about the 80-20 rule here. Not new cases of viruses jumping. I'm talking about, could we not wipe out viruses and common colds for maybe a decade? Could we not wipe out viruses and common colds for maybe a decade? Could we not wipe out viruses and common colds?
The simple answer is no. The simple answer is no. The simple answer is no.
Well, then you must know the average time that a virus is birthed from a non-human source. I don't know. I just think it's an interesting question that a virus is birthed from a non-human source. I don't know. I just think it's an interesting question that a virus is birthed from a non-human source. I don't know. I just think it's an interesting question.
The 3 weeks will give it time to kind of burn itself out, I think is what you're saying. Yeah, 5 years.
He's in the credits, and it's quite something, and it's on YouTube, like everything is. So be ready. I'm putting it into the queue. He's actually very interested in finding out if we will actually watch it, number one. Number two, what we think of it, which he already knows. But we have to watch it first. Just saying. KE5ICX. But we have to watch it first. Just saying. KE5ICX. But we have to watch it first. Just saying. KE5ICX.
Watch what, Tom? You were cut off. You were doubling for a few seconds. Watch what, Tom? You were cut off. You were doubling for a few seconds.
Oh, Blood Along the Brazos. That's my co-worker's movie. That's, I don't know, 90 minutes long or something. I have a DVD copy of it. He's got like a whole briefcase full of them, and he gave me one. So it's got to be good, right? Briefcase full of them, and he gave me one. So it's got to be good, right?
Yeah, probably so. Hey, I know you're an expert in these things, Tom. I would like to know, there was a monster movie back in the 70s that was filmed at Tanglewood Country Club, which is located like in Sherman, Denison, anyway, like near the lake area, Texoma. You don't happen to know the name of that old movie, do you? Maybe it was 60s. You don't happen to know the name of that old movie, do you? Maybe it was 60s.
Patrick, I don't know. We have seen The Killer Shrews that was filmed up in Lake Louisville, but that's it. Oh, and what was that? Travel to Tomorrow, or whatever the hell it was during the state fair back in 1964, complete with F-106 airplane. And what else? Oh, and let us not forget. What was that film with the runner? Yeah, that one. So those three films, but no, I can't recall Tanglewood. I'll look it up though. I can't recall.
No, I already Googled it. This is AM5 Bill. I already Googled it. I didn't see it. I think it's too old to be on there. I do think it was a black and white. By the way, what was the F-106 deal? What was that? My dad was a 106 pilot. So what was that film again?
5 EBB for ID. 5 EBB for ID.
Hey, Michael, go ahead. There was a double in there, Patrick. Somebody was responding. Go ahead.
I was trying to get into the FCC compliant W5 EBB. I was trying to get into the FCC compliant W5 EBB. I was trying to get into the FCC compliant W5.
Okay, well, I don't know about the Tanglewood part. And I'm trying to think of the film. What was that film? Brenda, come on, you know. Michael, you might know too. The one with the guy that goes to Fair Park. Goes to Fair Park, and he shrinks and he expands and all that stuff in that spacesuit thing. Come on, what's the name of that movie? And all that stuff in that spacesuit thing. Come on, what's the name of that movie? And all that stuff in that spacesuit thing. Come on, what's the name of that movie?
Navdar blank on Fair Park, W50ZL.
Ghosts of Dallas, maybe?
Oh, I'm Googling it. Oh, I found it very easily. Beyond the Time Barrier. 1960 American Cold War era black and white time travel science fiction film in Texas in 10 days. Actually, it's a pretty darn good movie. I enjoyed it much more than I did this one. Actually, it's a pretty darn good movie. I enjoyed it much more than I did this one.
That doesn't take much. WD9B.
Was that the one with the 106 pilot, or was that another one? That's what I was asking about. Was that the one with the 106 pilot, or was that another one? That's what I was asking about. Was
Yeah, I think it was at 106, and I'm going, oh, by the way, it takes place in the distant future, 2024. So I'm looking here to see if there's any specifics here on the wiki. 75 minutes long. Actually, as a kid, I remember this film quite distinctly because they ran it over and over and over again. But it was also filmed out in Fort Worth at the base out there. They call it an X-80, but I think it's an F-106 if I remember correctly. Movies online is pretty cool. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was a good film. We've reviewed it here, I don't know, several years ago. But we can do it again, too. I enjoyed it. KE5IC. It was filmed at Fort Worth Carswell Air Force Base when it was an Air Force Base. I'm sorry, I lie. It's F-102 Delta Dagger standing in for the test plane. I lied. Standing in for the test plane.
Well, that's a close cousin. There's not much difference between the two. What's the name of it again? Well, that's a close cousin. There's not much difference between the two. What's the name of it again?
It is called Beyond the Time Barrier, and it is available over on YouTube. And it is, I think, rather entertaining myself. It's not a 10, it's about a 7 or 8, but I think it's good enough for public consumption.
I will look for that for sure. Yeah, Dad flew some 102s before they moved, migrated into 106s. They were both basically flying rockets. It's a wonder that I'm here. So I'm glad he lucked out. AM5L. It's a wonder that I'm here. So I'm glad he lucked out. AM5L. It's a wonder that I'm here. So I'm glad he lucked out. AM5L.
Yeah, a risky business, but good. Glad to hear it. All right, well, I'm going to say it's at the midnight hour, so I'm going to say 7-3 to everybody. And somehow or another, this thing started working, even though the what do you call it, the transcoder thing, the whatever it is, blew up all of a sudden. It just kept going somehow. So there was some freeze frame over on the stream if you were watching it. But I digress. All right, 7-3, everybody. Have a good evening. See you next time when we watch Dawn of the Planet of the Apes or Planet of the Apes or something. Something with apes. See you later. KE5ICX. I'm clear. Something with apes.